Hey guys, Gun Turbo here. This is Skyrim Special Edition Xbox One, and we are starting to get into the month of September 2017. August has been, in my opinion, an amazing month for mods for Skyrim. And I have made some changes to my load order based on some of these new mods that have come out, some amazing mods that have come out. I've been overwhelmed with the amount of great content that has been available, and a number of mods that have just made Skyrim look so much better. If that's what you're looking for in a modded Skyrim game. I first wanted to give a shout out to Verdict of Odin, fellow YouTuber who has a channel mostly with Skyrim content. He gave me a support shout out a couple weeks ago, and I just wanted to return the favor. Definitely check out his YouTube channel if you already are not a subscriber. Does a live feed almost every day with some really great discussion in the chats. So it's a really great channel. So check out Odin. So in my load order, I have a number of new mods that are starting to really cover almost all the bases for different types of things within Skyrim that make textures look so much better graphically across the board. Now, I hadn't been using the graphics pack in any of my videos. I mentioned it in one video. I've tried some of these things in previous videos, such as Osmodius and Emrens a long time ago when it was just Emrens. But I've avoided this pack because of Osmodius, the overwriting of different packs. But now that this pack is Osmodius free and options for static mesh are available, I decided to put graphics pack in my load order to just see what it covers, and it covers so much. I have always liked SGO and the full static mesh, but this seems to just have more to it that covers more across Skyrim. A number of textures are improved tremendously. So I have this at the top of my load order, the extra trees, the add-ons for the DLC. But I'd like to talk about Divine Static Mesh. This is from Tarshana, who has just been banging out the mods this past month and has some really great things going on. So when this became available, I decided to give it a shot. I do not have the Static Mesh original or the Skeletor Static Mesh piece in the graphics pack. And this Divine Static Mesh is absolutely beautiful. Just so many of the textures that this applies to work and look amazing. In addition to that, I have Skyland Farmhouses installed. And again, as we look at what is covered, so much more is covered in terms of better textures with these kind of three big pieces here: the graphics pack, Divine Sim, or SMIM, and Skyland Farmhouses. The Divine Architecture did cover a lot of buildings and tiles and farmhouses, but in my opinion, the Skyland Farmhouses cover a lot and look fantastic, and the Divine Sim, with again the changes with the graphic pack that changes architecture, look great as well. So they're just kind of building and building here as we go along. Skyland, again, I prefer that over Osmodius, and have it. This is the balanced version. It looks wonderful. Skyland is just my favorite. As we get further on down, there have been a number of new weather and lighting mods that have come out this past August. ELFX Weathers, Mythical Ages, and I have been playing with both of those in addition to Vivid. I've gone back and played with Rustic a little bit, and one thing that I've noticed that is a pretty good difference between some of them is that ELFX and Mythical Ages, they are very nice. I like them, but there's a bit of a haze to the to your display. and it's not a contrast thing. It's not a brightness or saturation thing. It's just kind of a natural looking haze that takes place with these mods. Vivid Weathers and Rustic don't have such a thick haze in the display. So it's just something I've noticed in terms of a pattern as we kind of look at these four, I don't know, more popular weather and lighting mods. I love the LFX weathers. There are things about Mythical Ages that I like. There's some things that I don't like. I went back to Rustic. Rustic is really nice. Vivid also has some positive things to it. But I have Vivid here with True Storms in the patch. Enhanced lights effects for interiors. The enhanced piece to that, the exterior ELFX, and that's where I've stopped with those anyway. A few other things to note: I still have Lush Overhaul and Dense Grass, Detailed Terrain and Trees LOD, as some vegetation kind of improvements. Now, as we get into this section, display enhancements. I want to talk about this when we start looking at some video here. Dynamic Disable Eye Adaptation and Bloom is another mod that I've placed in my load order, and we'll go over that real quick. But you can open up a book to enable and disable bloom and eye adaptation, and even though Vivid has its own bloom variability, this can even disable bloom even further and make things look even sharper. Superior Rocks Dark Gray 2K, and then a couple of texture changes here and there with clothing. But another big one is Old Skyrim. I am so impressed with this mod, this overhaul. They are talking about a weapons overhaul coming soon as well, and a classified project soon. So at some point, so that's exciting. I do have the sleeving Skyrim as part of this to try out. It does add some nice new variations to some of the armors, but Old Kingdom armor overhaul is armor is improved tremendously. So that's a mainstay on my load order moving forward. And then Realistic Waters 2 is always something that I've had in this load order as well. So as we start to look at some of what this provides, the one thing that is important that I've been playing with and trying to figure out is how to balance the exterior world with the interior world. With ELFX interiors, what we find is, and I have the enhanced version, the enhanced mod installed as well, is that how you balance the contrast, saturation, etc. on the exterior is going to have an impact on interiors. The display enhancement settings on the outside of the world are going to affect what it looks like on the interior. So if we go to the Bannered Mare and we increase saturation or brightness, or I'm sorry, saturation or contrast or brightness, it will then have an effect on the outside world. Now, if you crank up contrast inside, it looks really nice. If you start to crank up saturation, it starts to get very orange. And then you go outside, and what happens is I find that, especially with this new armor mod, your character textures start to kind of wash out in a very dark way. All right, so this is just kind of an example. It is a bit of it's obviously a cloudy day here. There's a little bit of blue sky. But as we just to give an example here with display enhancements, as I start to increase contrast, you can see some of the details around the armor, like, you know, the armpit areas and whatnot, start to get really dark, and it just starts to look washed out in a very dark black kind of way. So the balance, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, is that if you go too much contrast outside, it doesn't look good, but it looks good inside. If you do not enough contrast inside, it doesn't look good, but it looks good outside. So the balance I'm finding is, you know, 2 or 3 contrast and 2 saturation. So probably a 2 and 2. And again, Vivid Weathers and Rustic reduce kind of this haze that tends to happen throughout kind of this long draw distance. Anyway, another thing that I wanted to show you is that with the dynamic bloom and adaptation on and off, you get these two pieces of paper, and when you read them, it gives a little description, but it tells you in the upper left corner if bloom is enabled or disabled. So I just wanted to show how this looks on the inside. Now all these textures, the wood, the tile, the stone, is improved greatly with MRENs. With the Divine Sim pack, or Static Mesh Improvement Mod pack, you get interior textures that that the graphics pack might not touch, but also might overwrite and maybe improve. The Divine Static Mesh also has the rug and furniture pack that had come out also in August. Is now tied into this Divine Static Mesh pack, and that details rugs better and some furniture better. So you're getting just like every little thing that you look at is improved. These baskets, these vegetables, this box, this table, the part of the table, these items, everything is just better. The fire pit, the stone around the fire pit, the logs, the wood, the doors, the lighting because of ELFX. It's just across the board improved. I'm not sure about the stucco wall here. I think maybe so. I don't know. So anyway, let's look at an object and see if we can make this work here. So maybe if I go over to these tomatoes, we'll get it in a good spot here. So if I open this paper and I toggle bloom, and it says bloom disabled, when I exit, you're going to probably see the effect happen, or maybe it's when I activate it. Well, anyway, it does work. Trust me. You can see it. Maybe if I do it on the side here. Okay, I toggled it so it's enabled. Yeah, this is the bad spot. Let me go on this side. See if we can get these tomatoes to unbloom. All right. So when you click this open, you can see just a little bit of a change. Boom, and even though I have no bloom in vivid weathers, it reduces a little bit more. So much is going to be sharper. Everything's going to be more sharper when you disable that bloom. Okay. So again, interior and exterior with ELFX and display enhancements is going to be key. And again, kind of that 2 and 2 with saturation and contrast. The armors across the board are improved. The colors are a little bit more brown, I would say. Some of the leather, some of the hide are definitely darker brown, which is fine. The iron armor, the banded iron shield, things are a little bit more brown, but so much more improved graphically. It just looks fantastic. So once we hopefully maybe get a weapons part to this, we will have this other section of Skyrim, or this other piece of everything that we're involved in. I mean the steel armor just is just kind of sheens. The steel just shines. It's just great. The elven armor I'm not keen on. It's pretty golden yellow. That kind of isn't. But everything looks just great. The imperial armor looks fantastic. Everything's just improved. Kind of going through some other details. So static mesh, like the barrels, are different, look fantastic, and I would say look a little bit better than anything else that's out there for changing barrels. The graphics pack adds some texture to tree bark, and I think it's one of the better textures out there. It looks fantastic. A lot of the towns and cities with the graphics pack have bricks and stone that change, and that's one thing about Whiterun that I'm just coming to learn to accept. I don't like the brick the brick wall, but again, what are you okay to, you know, kind of let go? I'm okay to let that go because of everything else that it changes for the better. You know, stones, you name it. I want to go to Riverwood because you'll see the Skyland Farmhouses. I mean, even this here is, you know, you see these barrels here. This is reflective. I noticed that the loading screens will generate the mods that you have installed. So these are the barrels that Divine Static Mesh improves. So even characters like with the textile mod that I have, you know, a character will come up and the clothes will change. Or even the armor mod, there was some characters in the loading screen where the armor mods were present. So all of this wood is changed and improved with the farmhouse mod. The roofs, the ropes, I think the ropes might be the static mesh, Divine Static Mesh. Things like, I'm not sure about the carts, but inside here, the fencing posts are improved. Again, I think I mentioned the thatching on the roof. But coming up here to the inn, the doors are improved. There's a pretty marked difference inside the inns. All right. So the floor is totally different, and if you look closely, it you know, with that Skyland photorealistic approach to things, it's just beautiful. All the wood beams are improved. It seems like the wood in the fireplaces are improved. I don't have any HD embers or anything like that, but all the bar is all retextured. A little dark, a little bit of a darker stain on the wood. No, I'm just kidding. Goblets or tankards. These barrels, I know it's hard to see. I'm going to put my travel lantern on. This is going to brighten everything up quite a bit. These barrels have texture improvements which look amazing. The iron that hangs the animals allegedly is improved. So again, with these mods, baskets, I believe, that basket looks similar to other versions. You can see the little flicker there. So that's one thing about some of the ELFX mods with static mesh apparently is that level of flicker. I'm okay I can live with that. You know, it's not game breaking, it's not crashing my game. It's like one thing. I think there's one there too that happens. So it's just a you know, it's just a phantom beam. It's just a phantom piece of wood. Like, it's okay. And maybe there's a couple. So again, just some ELFX glitches with static mesh that can happen. So what else do we got here? Oh, the one other thing that I wanted to share is that even though I have been, where are we going here? Even though I have been switching in and out some weather and lighting mods to see what one I like best, but also to give some of that feedback on some of the differences, is that I have still a gigabyte of memory left. With all of this, I still have a gigabyte. I have some sound mods. I have the ELFX enhanced lighting, that's 100 megabytes. I have diverse dragons. That's a pretty big size mod. The rest of them are not significantly large, but they are somewhat immersive in things that I have had in my load order. I have the elaborate textiles, which add some detail to clothing. In terms of character mods, I found that if you are looking for just a lightweight female texture change, then Texture Tweaks, Female Face Edits is a good one. some of the other huge mods that are out there that change character, skin, and textures. You know, there's some good ones out there that are pretty big file size. You'll have room, obviously, with this load order. This one's pretty low key and looks great. It does keep the vanilla body, so it's just a texture only replacer. But I think the characters look pretty good. Some of the other ones out there are just a little bit too, I don't know, for the amount of megabytes, they're a little too meh. So just a couple other things here. And again, the armor mods. I do have quite a bit of weapon mods installed. A few, again, some immersive mods and just some small little things. So I'm going to be playing with this for quite a bit. So I'm going to try to get some more videos out that are gameplay and you know, some more things that we might come across that I can showcase with this pack or with this load order. So I appreciate the support. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.